every now and then, when you're playing a set of games on Lichess, you'll come across the same opponent more than once. And this particular opponent was an FM rated around 2450 in Lichess Blitz. And at the time, I'm around 2430. It's a lot of bouncing back and forth to get to 2500, I'm not even going to lie. And they'll occasionally do strange things. And then they want to play game after game, because some players have the Magnus Carlsen playing 1F3, 1F6 mentality that they can play anything and beat people. I'm okay with that. I'm always happy to play people who are playing speculative things. Or they just do it in Blitz for fun. Cool. I'll take your rating points, I promise. Well, my opponent played b4, and being I typically pre-move on the first move, and since I can play the Alekhine, the King's Indian, I play knight f6 on move 1. Well, I have this great book on Chessable, Opening Oddities, and I like playing and recommending c6 against b4, Sokolsky opening. After bishop b2, some know it as the Polish, a5. And the number one move that I face from players here in practice is a3, after which takes, 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 and on queen b6, there's already no good way for white to defend the b-pawn. When c3 is the best move that you have, entombing your bishop and making your b1 knight look silly, I already feel like black has the better of it in the opening, and we're on move 6. Now, you have a number of different schemes of development you can choose for black, but the easiest is just going for a colors versus London, where you can castle and then use the open A file. So, not much to know there. Well, after I played knight f6, I'm like, oh crap, I wanted to play my prep. So, what do you do when you get move ordered? Well, you try to do it anyway. c6, and after c4, a5, and lo and behold, my opponent allows me to get something that is similar. Well, queen b6 isn't quite going to do it, because a move like queen b3 is going to come. So d5, we got ourselves a solidish position. I don't really have anything to complain about here. I probably should take the opportunity to capture here and then go queen d5, because this extra loss of tempo and giving the bother to the queen allows for knight takes, and that pawn is going to be really, really hard to defend over the next couple moves. Well, I missed this opportunity. I play e6, solid, simple enough. After knight f3, queen b6, bothering that b4 pawn. Now I take the opportunity to cash in, pawn in hand. So now let's have good technique here. What did the last move do? Always ask yourself this if you have time to process. His last move was e3. He wants to get the bishop out. Oh yeah, that bishop can take my pawn. So let's defend that pawn. What is the best way to defend the pawn? Bishop on d7 or b4? I like b4. Why? Because it gets the pawn closer to the promised land, becoming a queen at the other end. It's a girl. And it takes away key squares from that knight on b1, de facto keeping it out of the game. Knight e5. Well, I'm up material, even though it's a pawn, so would you like to trade? Okay, you pinned me to win me. None of that. My king is an active piece in an endgame. I'm happy for him to get into it. Bishop d6. Rooks are meant to go on open files. Bothers the bishop, so he needs to defend it. Rook a5, continuing our theme of bothering bishops. Pass pawns are meant to be pushed. He's got the bishop pair. That's an edge. We get rid of the bishop pair. He's got nothing for his pawn. Our extra pawn, I should say. d4. Won't let me trade. Fair enough. Now knight d5. So bishop d6. Control the key squares. After he trades, king d3. And I don't know why I was so focused on the squeeze. And I often do this where I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a move. and I'm just going to shut down counterplay. I play f5 because I'm like, all right, there's no e4 now, and you got the squeeze on you. Rook a3 just wins on the spot. And as soon as I played f5, he plays h3, and I was like, oh yeah, rook a3 was there the move before. Knight a5, and after knight takes e3, my opponent decides that that is enough and tosses it. Thank you for your points.